Okay, so some organizational stuff. One, people have turned in some assignments to Nora that are the introspective essay assignment. It's important that you turn in the cover page as well as the essay itself. You can already turn them off if you'd like, but you got to turn in both. You can turn them in either to my box or to Nora's box, but if you don't turn it in with the cover page, we'll have no idea who you are. And as a result, we won't be able to give you credit, which you so richly deserve if you do the assignment. A second thing, many people have asked if there will be extra credit in the class. There will be an extra credit opportunity, which I'll send out to you. It would be to participate in an additional study for credit, but it would be easier to do than the previous one. It's just a link to an online survey, which I think takes like 30 to 35 minutes. I contacted some research assistants that I work with, told them that you're all dying for extra credit opportunities, and so they created this opportunity. I'm not exactly sure how much extra credit it will be. I'm going to have to crunch the numbers and see what's like an appropriate amount. But what will happen is I'll crunch the numbers, figure out what the appropriate amount is to offer for extra credit, and then send out a B-Space announcement, probably today. Are there any questions about this? It will be a link to an online survey, 30 to 40 minutes, somewhere in there. You can do it for extra credit, an amount to be determined, link to be sent out later today. Okay, last thing, we'll now turn in the pen and maker essay assignment. You've now done the second one. At this time, please pass it down to the end of the row. If you're down here, pass it to the end. If you're in the middle, go down that way, please. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and tear off the cover page, but you can wait for us and we'll tear off the cover page. It does not matter. The cover page will be torn off. Your anonymity will be preserved. Hey, Nora. Okay. Okay, is there anybody else that hasn't turned in their assignment? Kristen can come by and pick it up now. She's still picking up assignments. So raise your hand if you haven't passed in your assignment yet. Okay, now, if I get your attention, we'll get started with today's lecture. Okay. People ask, what about the quiz answers? We'll do those at the break. When we come back from the break, I'll go through the quiz and give you the right answers. They're pretty straightforward. You probably, people score very well on the quiz, and if you've been attending and doing most of the readings, you would probably ace it. So, okay. Today we're going to talk about a very specific concept. In general, if I get your attention. In general, throughout the course of this class, we've been doing lectures on, large areas, and we'll continue to do that. So we've done, lectures on cognitive dissonance, balance theory, conformity, obedience to authority, big processes with tons of research in them from different research traditions. We've been trying to put it all together and get some kind of larger insights on human nature and social interaction, and then try to apply them to everyday life. And that's going to be more or less the gist of today's lecture. It'll again be to try to get some observation about human nature and interaction that might be useful to you in your everyday life. However, today's lecture will be on a much more specific topic. It'll be on a concept called immune neglect, and we'll talk about that. Can you all stop talking there? Thank you. Okay, so what is immune neglect? Immune neglect is the tendency of people to overestimate the intensity and duration of their emotions, or the intensity and duration of their emotional reactions to things. So people consistently in research shows that people fail to realize that emotional reactions to events will pass relatively quickly. And basically, the reason they call it immune neglect is it's this idea that people neglect that they have a pretty good affective immune system. And it's kind of a strange expression, affective immune system. So what is affect? What's this word affect that social psychologists are always talking about? What does it mean? Somebody knows this. Come on, affect. When people say affect, what's a one-word synonym for affect? Yes. Right. Well, yes. So affect is basically emotion. And so when we say that you have an affective immune system, we mean that you have a sort of psychological immune system that ameliorates or brings back to normal your emotional reactions to things. So people have this affective immune system, just like when a virus hits and you have a normal physiological immune system that will eliminate it, or hopefully do that. Then we have the same thing for emotion and affect that occurs in everyday life. We have an immune system that will bring us back to whatever our normal level of happiness is. But we tend to neglect that we have this system. We're unaware of it and we underestimate its effects. And that's why we call this immune neglect. You have an affective immune system, but you neglect it. You're not aware of it, and you're not aware of the extent of it. So the affective immune system, among other things, ameliorates bad experiences. It reduces the impact of bad experiences on your emotions. We tend to think that when something bad happens to us, something that provokes bad emotions, that we'll feel bad for longer than we actually wind up feeling bad. And then the other side of this coin is that your affective immune system tends to reduce the impact of positive experiences as well. So positive experience, positive affect, positive emotions tend to not endure as long as we expect that they will, and probably not as long as we would want them to. So your affective immune system, yeah, okay, all right. Ameliorates bad experiences, but also reduces the impact of positive emotions as well. Again, we neglect the system. We tend to expect that our emotions and moods will persist longer than they actually do. We overestimate the duration of our emotional reactions to events in everyday life. We're sort of like drama queens in that way. What's a good example? So go with me on this one for a second. Think about some terrible breakup that you had. Some terrible breakup, just heart-wrenching. You feel like your gut is being torn out of your body. You know this feeling. It's a terrible feeling, and it's fun to reimagine with me. Let's do this. Yes, I know this is going well already, right? This is your favorite lecture of the semester. Yes. No, but really do this for a second. Now think about that. And think about it. It's almost unimaginable right now, right? Like where you literally feel physically ill. You feel so terrible, And I think breakups are a great example of how you can feel this way. I mean, there's other bad things that happen to people, losing a parent or a grandparent or someone that's close to you, and these are horrible things that maybe even feel worse. But breakups are something that 98% of you or so have experienced something like this, and just the utter pits of mental, psychological, physical, and emotional, misery that descend upon you when you have a bad breakup. I'm going to talk about this some more. That's great. There's many of you look like you're like you taste something bitter. You're just like, oh, why would I want to imagine that? Well, think back to it, and think back to the feeling you had when you had that. feeling and how you thought it was going to last forever, right? If you'd been asked at the time, you would have given an incredibly melodramatic response to, your forecasted duration of this emotion. You would say, I will never be the same, ever. I will always, always feel awful. It's unlikely I'll leave my apartment. I probably will never eat anything but Oreos again in my life. And yes, I'll probably just watch Notting Hill a lot or something like that. I don't know, whatever. That movie sucks, by the way. I finally saw that. So, it does, and you know it's true. So, okay. So this is a good example of how, the stronger the emotion, the longer we forecast that it will last. But we're wrong, right? What happened? What happened after this experience? You felt this horrible gut-wrenching misery. I won't go into that again. And how long did it last? Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. It started getting better. It didn't go away maybe for a while. Maybe it didn't go away for months. Maybe it didn't go away for years even. But it went away faster than you thought it did, right? You felt better faster. And you found you could walk and interact with people and eat a normal diet probably within days. You became functional surprisingly quickly, though you underestimated this. And this is a phenomenon that's fascinated social psychologists, and specifically Dan Gilbert, who's one of the leading social psychologists in the discipline today. He's a social psychologist at Harvard. I got to talk to you guys a little bit about him earlier in the semester. Are we booing Harvard? We can boo Harvard. I'm okay with that. I didn't know. I just didn't get the memo. I'm down for that. Okay. All right. Okay. He's a professor at Harvard. Oh. Okay. So Dan Gilbert's a professor at Harvard, and he has an interesting life story. He grew up in New York, where I went to graduate school, and then dropped out of high school to into a VW bus and come out to the Bay Area, I think, and do, well, whatever people did in the 1970s when they did those sorts of things. He's also like a science fiction writer in his spare time, writes popular books. Very interesting guy, very, very good lecturer. If you want to see one of his lectures, you should check out his TED Talks online. The TED Talks, he's a very good lecturer. You should see the TED Dan Gilbert lecture. Google it, you'll like it. Okay, so Dan Gilbert got interested in this phenomenon, and specifically, I believe he was inspired by this observation that you think your life's going to end when you have all these bad breakups, and it never does. And so he wanted to do a series of studies to make the case for the existence of an affective immune system and that we neglect its strength and its existence. Okay, and a lot of this research, by the way, is collaborative with Tim Wilson, who wrote the book that you're all reading now. So anyway, Gilbert did a series of studies. In study 1, he looked at, I don't know why that happened. In study 1, he took people who had never been through a breakup and found that they overestimated how bad they would feel compared to self-reports of people who had been through a breakup, either in the recent or distant past. I don't know where he found these people that had never been through a breakup, because it seems to me like you don't have to be in a relationship to go through a breakup. You know what I mean? Like you can imagine that you guys can go and it doesn't go anywhere. So I don't understand why these people hadn't really been through a breakup. It seems to me like I'm going through these like every few months, it seems. So I know. It's worse. It's worse than you can imagine. So So Gilbert did this study, and he found that people who had been through breakups either recently or in the distant past said, you get better. It's not the worst thing in the world. And people who had not been through them, they were looking forward to it, who were in a relationship, were like, oh my God, if I went through a breakup, it would be awful. I would lose, this person I'm very close to. So it's sort of evidence that people overestimate the duration of their emotions. When you ask people beforehand, what's it going to be like? They're like, it's going to be awful. When you ask people afterwards, they're like, yeah, it was awful, but I got better faster than I thought I would. Okay, study 2. He studied something. This is very close. You can see why he would do this study, because professors would really resonate with professors, who are most of the people who read these social psychology papers. In study 2, he surveyed professors who were either given or denied tenure at University of Texas. Are you all familiar with the tenure system? Okay, so the tenure system, just in case some of you aren't, tenure system is a system where you have like 6 or 7 years when you're hired as an assistant professor to make the grade and really prove that they should give you a job essentially for life. And then after 6 or 7 years, they either guarantee you tenure for life, like you can't lose your job unless you do some really whacked out stuff, or they fire you. And that's an unnatural and weird thing to do to employees. After 6 or 7 years, we're going to either fire you or hire you forever. Very strange. But this is a great academic tradition. There's a lot of reasons why we think it might be a good idea. And one of the results of it is that assistant professors, people in my situation, they labor under this uncertainty. Am I going to make tenure? Am I going to make it? And you worry about it. You can't help but worry about it, because if you don't make it, you're fired. And that's not fun. And most assistant professors have incredibly melodramatic impressions of how bad life would be if they didn't get tenure. And Gilbert wanted to document this. So he asked people how happy they were after having gotten or been denied tenure. Then he surveyed assistant professors who were looking ahead to the tenure decision and had them indicate both their current happiness and their happiness that they would forecast they would have after being given or denied tenure. And they were surveyed like, okay, so how happy are you now? How happy are you now? How happy would you be right after being given or denied tenure? How happy would you be 2 years after that, 3 years after that, and so on to 10 years? Trying to get a sense of how long these assistant professors would forecast they would feel worse as a result of not getting tenure. And then he wants to compare that to this real data on people who were given or denied tenure and how happy they actually were. Yeah, okay. So here are the results. The results were that forecasters thought they would be significantly happier if they got tenure than if they were rejected for a duration of 5 years after the fact. They thought, wow, if I get tenure or don't get tenure, I'm going to feel better 5 years from now. There'll be a noticeable difference. It won't be until like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years that there won't really be a difference in my life if I did get it or didn't get it. So that's how melodramatic we are when we look forward to these things. In reality, there was absolutely no effect on tenure decision on global happiness amongst those people surveyed. When they asked people, how happy are you? Asked these people who either did get it or didn't get it, how happy are you? They couldn't find any discernible differences amongst any kind of number of years since the decision. Maybe on the day, maybe in the first few months, you do feel worse. They didn't survey a ton of people who had just gotten the decision. It was more people that had the decision happen to them a year before, 2 years before, 3 years before, and they found no effect. So this is a massive, massive difference between perception and reality, right? Where these people are not actually particularly affected in their global happiness by their tenure decision, but they believe they will be for 5 years. And I'll tell you that misperception of reality is highly functional for universities. Universities love, this is a great effect for them, that they can't actually make you less happy, but they can make you believe you'll be less happy for 5 years. And that'll keep you working. That'll keep you up till 2 a.m. working on research like I was last night. Okay. So, study 3. They looked at voters' estimates of how they would feel after the results of the 1994 Texas gubernatorial election. So, who are these people? Who is this person? Okay, I'm joking. Okay, all right, sorry. Who's this person? Ann Richards, exactly. And partisanship aside, Ann Richards was a badass woman. I really like Ann Richards. She actually passed away, but was a real cool shit-kicking Texas woman. So, her politics aside, I'm not telling you anything about my politics, but as a person, she was super cool. So anyway, voters overestimated how bad they would feel 1 month after the 1994 gubernatorial election in Texas, depending on whether their candidate won or lost. It was a very close election. A lot of people at the time, George W. had kind of come out of nowhere. Everybody knew he was the son of the recent president, George Sr., but people didn't have this long track record. He'd been a congressman or something, a state senator or something like that. But it was one of these things where people were like, oh, he's not necessarily going to win, right? Ann Richardson was the incumbent. It was a really close election, and George W. did win. And this time, so this time in their study, they used study participants in a longitudinal design. What is a longitudinal design? Those of you who are taking Soc 5 probably know this. I think I heard somebody say over here. Right. It's a study that's done over time with multiple observations at multiple points in time. So far, what they've been doing is surveying people and saying, hey, you already had a breakup, or you already had, a tenure decision, and how do you feel now? And then they surveyed another set of people and said, how would you feel if you were these people? Well, that's, an okay method for this. But what would be more convincing would be to actually track the same people over time before and after this decision and show they overestimated, how bad they would feel or how good they would feel. Okay. Oh, shit. So what they did was they found that Bush supporters tended to think they would feel way better, a month after the results of the election if their candidate won. And Richard supporters thought the same thing. They thought they'd feel way better. But actually, they came back a month later, and there was no discernible difference in happiness between the two sets of supporters for each candidate. And actually, on the basis of this, Dan Gilbert wrote a very controversial op-ed in the New York Times after the 2004 election, where in the 2004 election, lots of Democrats and Republicans in the country and independents, had a candidate they were rooting for, and it was this huge, important election to people, and then it was this really close finish, and a lot of Democrats felt really, really bad. If you were Democrats in 2004, you remember the feeling. And he wrote this op-ed the next day where he said, hey, don't worry, you're going to feel better, it's not that big a deal, and it just irritated the heck out of a lot of people. Yeah. Yes? Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, but they did do a study of the 2004, and it was the case that people overestimated how bad they would feel afterwards. So it wasn't just that you wrote this op-ed and irritated a bunch of people. You actually did document the effect as well. And they found the same thing, I believe, for the 2008 election, where supporters of McCain thought they feel worse than they actually did. All right. I know they're collecting data on it. I don't know if I shouldn't say that they got the result, but I think they did. Okay. But remember, one thing that's important to note here is that people who supported Bush thought they would feel a lot better, too, than they really did a month later. So it was the case in both directions. The positive affective boost did not endure as long as people thought it would, nor did the negative affective boost the negative affective drop from having your candidate lose. So they conducted some other research. They found that lottery winners overestimate the persistence of positive emotions following winning the lottery. And that is like the epitome of something where you think you're going to feel better, right? You totally think you're going to feel a lot better. And I'll tell you, knowing this finding, totally screwed up watching that movie Slumdog Millionaire for me. Like the whole movie, I'm like, he's not going to feel better. He's not, it's going to be like 1 month tops, because of Dan Gilbert's research and very convincing. He did the 5 studies, And I totally messed that movie up for me. So, and it's interesting too, because people pump just millions and millions of dollars into the lottery system, in America, looking for that one chance of happiness, but it doesn't, research shows, it won't really bring you enduring happiness. And there's a lot of specific reasons for that. There's all these terrible stories of people who won the lottery, and then their friends just descended on them and just leached money off of them, or the taxes took away, 40% of it or something. So there's all these terrible stories about specific reasons why the lottery might mess up your social relationships, ruin trust in your social network, and so on. But there's also the immune neglect phenomenon where you're going to come back to your normal set point level of happiness pretty quickly. You've overestimated how long these effects will endure. Okay, another thing, I keep telling you that this happens for positive emotions as well as negative emotions, right? That positive emotional states do not endure as long as you think they will, nor do negative ones. But it is worth noting that the negativity bias is stronger than the positivity bias. So we really, really, really think that terrible negative events will persist, and we way overestimate that. It's a smaller effect on the positive side. We do overestimate the duration of our positive emotions and emotional reactions to things, but not nearly as much as we overestimate the negative side. Okay, here's the big finding. Here's the big finding. If the source of the emotional reaction is not readily understood, it impairs the immune system and prolongs the emotional reaction. This is big, okay? So I've told you the story about the affective immune system. There's nothing you can do about it. But there is something you can do about it. There is something you can do. You can use this principle and our knowledge of this principle in order to feel better, in a sense. Feel better about negative events and then prolong the effect of positive events. And we'll now talk about this for a few slides. So they conducted a study of the duration of positive affect, positive emotional reactions after some random stranger does a nice thing for you. They ran a study where they had people come up to you on the street and hand you like a card that said, that had like a silver dollar, like a nice like silver dollar attached to it. And it had a note attached to it that said, have a nice day or something. And in the other condition of the study, it said, have a nice day. We are the Random Acts of Kindness group. We go around practicing random acts of kindness because we want to be nice to people. Yeah, I know, really weird study. So, and in a third condition, you get handed nothing in a third condition. Right. Well, you're normally not handed anything like that, so it'll just be like you live your normal life. And then they surveyed people either immediately afterwards, they had somebody else go up to them and ask them about their emotions, or a few minutes later, they essentially tracked them and then tracked them down and gave them a survey. And what they found was that everybody felt better after being given this silver dollar from a random stranger. Somebody does something randomly nice to you, you feel good. But a few minutes later, the effect had worn off in one of the conditions and not the other. In which condition do you think the effect had worn off in? Right, in the silver dollar condition, where there's an explanation of why they gave it to you, where it says we're the Random Acts of Kindness group, we do random acts of kindness for people, trying to make them feel good or something like that. In that condition, you feel better right off, same as you do in the one where they just hand you a silver dollar with no explanation, just have a nice day. You feel better right off, but then you go, oh, I understand why they did this. It's not that you, so you understand the source of this positive affect. In the other condition, you're just like, why did that person do that? I don't understand why this happened. This is a very unusual, weird thing. I can't understand it and then get over it. And so as a result, the positive affect lingers longer. And the takeaway on this is if you can preserve the mystery in things that make you feel positive or good, rather than totally understand them and totally codify the source of it, if you can preserve the mystery of things that make you feel good, they'll last longer. Because if the source of the emotional reaction isn't readily understood, then it impairs the immune system and prolongs the emotional reaction. So for positive emotions, for positive emotion-inducing situations, you want your immune system to be impaired. You don't want to go back to your normal level of happiness. You would like to not readily understand the source of the emotional reaction. And they created this in the study, right, by having somebody give you a dollar with hardly any explanation at all. Is this understandable? Do you understand this? If you don't understand it, it makes you feel good. That's good, because then it'll endure a lot. Okay. So this brings us to the essay. Oh, yes, what's up?